cooking class lasted, they got their clothes dirty with some of the ingredients and laughed when they saw how they had turned out. But their joy did not last long because the kitchen was much worse than them, and they had to clean up the mess that was created. 30 minutes were needed to leave the kitchen like gold jets. After their little adventure without leaving the house, each one prepared to change to start organizing Jackson's agenda. Serena couldn't imagine that something that seemed so simple it would become a real challenge. That day they both learned a valuable lesson: not taking anything for granted. The monotony used to trap them because they had the habit of getting up to do the things that happened that day, and they went to bed after watching an episode of a series. So Serena would offer Jackson to go that weekend to a nightclub that she knew. She knew in advance that it would not be possible. There would be a lot of people, and that made him have less reason to say no to the great idea that had occurred to him. It was Friday, and for everything to go according to his plan, he had to know the response of his now boss that day, because the best day to go was Saturday. When it was time for the meal, she said that she was cooking, which was strange because the days were divided up and it was his turn. Jackson noticed that this attitude showed interest in wanting to ask him for something in exchange for cooking, and he was not wrong because when there was set the table and prepared to sit down, starting a conversation about going somewhere for the weekend. Both suggested several options. Serena blurted out disco as if nothing had happened. Jackson didn't say a word, but his expression made it clear that he was negative, since he had gone to some and he knew that he didn't belong in that kind of environment. Seeing his reaction, she quickly set about correcting her mistake, since that place was for wealthy people with limited capacity, and there would be no substances of dubious origin, so everything would be under control. And she knew that the door was guarded by security of the premises. She seemed to doubt her first response, which she took the opportunity to show him all the information that she had previously discovered about that place. Since she had been investigating places and ways to get Jackson out of the house for weeks, because in her opinion he was becoming sullen. His hard work paid off, because at his insistence he had no choice but to accept. Saturday was a different day for both of us before arriving at the time to go to the mentioned place. Serena couldn't wait to head there, while he was trying to steal seconds from time so that moment wouldn't come. The clock struck 10, letting both young people know that the time had arrived. Once they were ready, they got into the car, turning on the GPS that would take them to the location of the store. After several minutes of travel, they reached their destination, finding parking easily, and after turning off the car engine, they got out to start walking towards the door of the nightclub, where they saw the security in person in front of that entrance. Once inside, they observed the lighting of the venue, which invited you to enjoy the music that was playing and the drinks that were served there. The bar was located on the left and the dance area on the right. The hanging lamps in color matching the seats made Jackson and Serena. They decided to have a drink while watching some people dancing. After finishing their drinks, Serena did not hesitate to drag Jackson to the dance floor, who did not know how to react because he was not one for dancing, especially in front of a girl. But when the song "Closer" by Chainsmokers came on, it was like magic. Suddenly it seemed like the song sounded to them because they began to move to the beat of that melody, even getting close to each other, as if that seemed like the most natural thing in the world, ending up flooded only with their gazes. Forgetting that they were in a public place and with people around, transforming into a moment that stopped time as if it were eternal. When the song ended, everything returned to normal, there being a silence that was not at all uncomfortable. On the contrary, that awakened a wave of feelings among them that would lead them to different situations. But let's continue with what happened at the nightclub, to relax from what they had just experienced. Serena said that she had to go to the bathroom, and Jackson answered that he would wait for her where they were. 10 minutes passed and Jackson had no signs of life from her. Worried, he began to look for her throughout the nightclub until he found her on one of the bar stools talking animatedly with a boy more or less the same age as both of them. With equal parts jealousy and confusion, he approached them, trying to hide them. When he was ready, close enough, he called Serena, making her react. taking her out of the conversation she was engaging in. She returned the gesture, calling him to come there, and the next second she began to apologize for not having looked for him because, having seen the young man at the bar, she prepared to talk with him, forgetting that he had to tell her that he had left the bathroom and that someone was waiting for him. After that strange three-way meeting, Serena introduced Jackson to that boy whose name was J-Bum and was an old classmate of Serena's. Jackson greeted kindly, and then was bombarded with the story of how they met and how we got to that moment. Serena explained that they met for the first time at university when they were studying business administration, coinciding in the fundamentals of economics class. J-Bum added that after sitting together that day they became very good friends. Over time each one continued on their way, not seeing each other again in years. Until that same night when they met again, they did not take long to start the conversation, to catch up on what they had experienced. After hearing that story, he forgot the negative feelings that invaded him and had to understand that Serena would meet people, not being strange the situation he had just witnessed. At the end of the conversation, the three seemed like lifelong friends and then agreed to see each other again. She yawned shortly after they had said goodbye, signaling that it was time to go home to finish the day.